Back in Utah, when I was a boy, everybody knew what a downwinder was. We were the anti-nuclear capital of the world. I was an autistic kid. My father was a drafted United States Marine, an incredible man. I come from an incredible family. My uncle stood on Omaha Beach on D-Day. I grew up on a huge ranch out by the lake. He was a beautiful, incredible person. He was at Pendleton, combat ready, and they were human guinea pig. They were marched into the trenches in Nevada. They're called atomic veterans. He nearly died at the blast. Between 1951 and 1968, we had 300 open-air tests. Well, as different scientists started to write about this, Wallace Stegner was at the University of Utah at the time. I got to know him. Edward Abbey was hanging around there. I got to know him. I got to know all these environmentalists, and I was an environmentalist, and it was a passionate, intense subject matter there.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Twingate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. Twingate, 311, whatever you want to call it. I call it Pacific genocide, whatever. It's fucking giant conspiratorial across all demographics. They'll be calling you a radical. May God have mercy on all of your souls.
Nuclear power was evolving. We were promised, oh, this can't happen.
They'll be calling you a radical. Big show today. Wow. 3rd year anniversary of this incredible, incredible catastrophe on so many levels. I'm live at the Enola Gay hangar where this whole madness started on the Utah-Nevada border in the old hangar. I'm in here right now. Pretty amazing how this radio show, this gig has evolved. You know, Tuesday's Gone with the Wind. I always loved that song, but wow, seems a lot of things Tuesdays, doesn't it? Megan Rice's sentencing. We were live at the sentencing inside the courtroom January 28th, which this all ties together. It's so important. Boy, it's cold here today. We got the wind blowing across here in this dynamic. We've got some artists that have traveled a long ways from around the world that we're all hooking up. We're going to make we got some pretty cool things planned as the 3/11/11 disaster. It needs to be said right here, right now, that think about this. Now, I don't own a television. I don't watch television. But at the hotel, I wanted to cruise through all the mainstream media, the lunatic. I mean, so I'm watching for a couple hours, cruising around, seeing, is anybody even going to mention, you know, the 3-year anniversary of this catastrophe? You know, and I realized no wonder this country is gone. I mean, people actually listen to this freaking shit. My God, it's like poison in your body, to your brain. It's beyond ridiculous. It's beyond grotesque. Who would believe it? Not one single mention word. Now, let's just take the meltdown out of the equation. Take the nuclear meltdown out of the equation. The tsunami, the earthquake, you're talking one of the greatest catastrophes of multiple, you know, of our generation, for sure, many generations. How many hundreds of thousands of people were killed? These disrespectful fucks, CNN, Fox News, ABC, disrespectful, evil fucks, and these Uncle Tom media pieces of shit who sit in front of a desk, the Uncle Tom whores that they are. Wow. I mean, no karma, no relation, no intuitive sense, just dogma snuggies, just going along with the masquerade party. It killed hundreds of thousands of people. The disrespect to the Japanese people, just that alone. Don't kid yourself. Westinghouse was bought supposedly by Toshiba. Look it up. Toshiba and TEPCO, the same gig. The whole dog and pony show that's being run over there. The fact of the matter that the fascism on Balco that's going on. Now you think about this. to talk about Fukushima, to report on Fukushima, you go to jail. I'm friends with a professor over there that I've done his radio show multiple times. He's in prison. For real. It's the United States running this dog. Well, the United States. We're not the United States. Should I say the fascism on Balco, I pledge allegiance to the United States of nuclearism. Megan Rice, still, she got sentenced. She's set in a holding facility for 9 months. I mean, torturing an 84-year-old nun. I mean, really, one of the greatest human rights activists, one of the great peace activists of all time. I still cannot find out where she's at. We have her tracking number. Feinstein comes out this morning and says, the CIN is breaking the law. Really? No shit? Well, did you just wake up, saw the sun come up? The Patriot, the Unpatriot Act, NSA, all of them. But the bottom line is this. All these things still come down to integrity in men. That's why I'm here where this madness started. The Manhattan Project never stopped, went amok. It did here. This is right here where the Enola Gay hangar, this is where they did all the practice runs. Tippus office. They got it all ready. This is where they practiced to drop Little Bullet on Japan. This is where the whole gig was put together. Everybody knows about Los Alamos and that catastrophe. When they set off the bomb. I bet $1 it killed everybody in New Mexico. They named nuclear plants after him in Michigan. They were all here, out here in the middle of this desert, this landscape, sitting around, just gigantic sums of money thrown at them, gigantic sums of money. But here is what it all should be. It should be in retrospect. It should be historical. What they've done here, they're trying to restore it, turn it into museums. Put this in the past. Draw a line in the sand and say, hey, look at this. Look what we did. Let's never do this again. But no. Here, yes, that's happened. But the other four, there was really four components to the Manhattan Project. They've never stopped. They've never stopped. Megan Rice, that's why she broke into White 12 in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. By law, they have to stop. By law, international treaties were signed, not only to quit making nuclear weapons, to start getting rid of nuclear weapons. They're still making it. More and more and more and more and more. The only thing we export in this usury-based economy, plutonium. Serious. It's so unbelievable that people are blind to this catastrophe. Nuclear power is a catastrophe. Science fiction economics is a catastrophe, and we're all in denial. 0% interest rate now for 13 years. Who would ever believe it? You just go along. Take a look at the dollar against the euro right now. Reeling out of control again. $1.38 this morning. I said in Manhattan the day the euro. I was a derivative arbitrage specialist on Wall Street. Went to the hearing, the meeting, when the head of the euro spoke. I believe it was 98, 99 when the euro was launched. 75 cents, I think it opened up against the dollar. We hope someday to have the euro trading equivalent to the dollar, he said. Who would have believed it? Just a few short later, $1.60. As we start using our plutonium and our threatening our weapons, and we colonialize the world. Not we. What am I saying? We. Yeah, it's not. We're not we anymore. We the people. Isn't that what the Constitution says? It surely is not we the people. Everybody wants to talk about the Second Amendment. There's 27 amendments. Let's talk about them all. This still comes down to the integrity of men. There was no way Truman was going to back out. They have a mock-up right here. I'm looking at it right now of Little Boy. There it is right here. The bomb itself. Jefferson, as he pulled the plug, he says there was a ticker tape parade for him in Manhattan. He said he wanted to cry the whole time. It's horrible. It's horrible. Oppenheimer says, let's drop it. But let's do a scare one. Let's share the technology with Stalin. And madness. Oh no, the military madness. The same type of idealism that exists today, the arrogance, the Queen's puppets. Oh no, Teller. He overrode. And Oppenheimer and Einstein, 10 times more intelligent than Teller ever dreamed to be. Teller, the Hungarian immigrant. And the key is, Oppenheimer's a communist. They labeled him a communist because he said no. After the bomb was dropped, this bomb was dropped, they loaded it in the South Pacific, but they flew out of here. And you can look it up. on the 68th anniversary. I timed it exactly at this hangar, put some of my artwork right there, and I timed it exactly as when it flew out of here. You know, it was loaded up, and they pulled it. Japanese still wouldn't surrender. And when you say the Japanese, you know, you want to talk, it was a feudal system over there, just like we are now. People have no voice. Just like here, we have no voice. Your vote's worthless. How can your vote mean anything? Absolutely anything. Feinstein's words today. When the CIA violates the Constitution, violates the law every day, they do whatever they want. The Queen's freaking, this is a feudal system, and until this country wakes up and realizes that this is a, you know, that's what happens in a 1% feudal system. It's like a guy said to me, he says, you know, because I go off, I said, this country's never been full-blown out free capitalism. I mean, it's always been guided capitalism. He says, you show me one social program in 1776. Okay, I'll show you multiple ones. Number one, the central bank was developed immediately. But remember this, Hamilton, the first thing he did, the first thing we did was a social program. Tariffs, the Coast Guard, the Marines. Redistribution of wealth is redistribution of wealth. But in a free capitalistic, free market system all the way, which those things, that's just all hyperbole, fairy tale talk. It's whoever has the strongest army. We broke down all those protections, and it folds into nuclearism. It is nuclearism because it comes down to integrity. You know, as I was trying to lead up to the 100th anniversary of the shirtwaist fire, people don't even know what that is anymore. Boy, our parents did, our grandparents did, our great-grandparents did. And it's pretty ironic that you don't think that had a huge influence on Megan Rice? Her dad taught right there in that building. That's Building D at NYU where that happened, at Washington Square. March 25th, 1911. I was planning my post-ignorance gig, which post-ignorance is a human rights, socioeconomic status. It's a movement. It's an art. It's a cultural movement that ties all this in together to human rights. But 2 weeks earlier, 3/11/11 happened. And I knew. It trumped all. Was it me forecasting my own cancer? Day 212, I got a stomach ache, ended up with a hardcore brutal leukemia. I should have never survived it. I don't know how I did survive it. I really look back on it. What an incredible 3 years. My vlog, my videos, you want to talk to intensity. I could never relate. I've watched a lot of death theater. I watched my father die as he was nuked to death. Again, tell her. He made the decision. As they moved him from Stanford to Cal Berkeley, and Oppenheimer says, no more bombs. No more bombs. Oh, no, we want to do these hydrogen bombs at the Bikini Islands. Oh, yeah, no. Einstein, no. All of them, no. Tell her, oh, yeah. So they just picked the military-industrialized complex, the Eugene McCarthy rat. Oh, the commies are going to get us. So they label Oppenheimer a freaking communist, which he was no communist. Oh, yeah, his wife, who was married to a guy in Spain, you know, the Franco Spain. I mean, come on. What is she supposed to do? These are people. These are human beings. You got to realize the dynamic that was going on at the time. So they hand the keys to the lesser intelligent, the one that will play ball. He ran the nuclear program clear into the 80s. Star Wars with Reagan was still him. Reagan and Gorbachev signed a non-proliferation contract. So here in Wendover, it's been mothballed. I used to go into the old hangar. It was just falling down. Disarray. I used to paint in there. I used to do art in there. It was just complete. It's still surreal out here. You know, it's nobody knows it's here, but Oak Ridge is still active. And if you don't think Los Alamos is still ongoing and active, you know, I mean, think about Carlsbad, the WIP, the National Repository for the Nuclear Waste. Oh, yeah, it's leaking. Now, you think about that. Okay, and everybody says, you know, this beautiful Dana girl, I was doing videos on WIP on February the 5th. I get a lot of views, and I want to tell you people something. My retention on my YouTube views, Google says it's the high 1/10 of 1,000%. My retention on my videos is in the 80%, which is unheard of. You know, so you don't think these people watching to come out, you know, call us conspiracy theory. You know, Dana Beautiful Girl did that great video exposing, you know, those guy that puppy killer. He was their expert. Now think about this. They had a leak down there. Just doesn't matter how much. Well, it matters, but how much was on? Just think the fact that there's a leak. People say, "Oh, it's low level." Oh no, it's not low level. Are you kidding me? The waste from the Trinity test is in there. We built Yucca Mountain right out here in Nevada. You know, Harry Reid born and raised in Yucca Mountain. He blocked it. That's why Gina McCarthy, MIT, the Nuclearism School, Ernest Mossy, MIT, Alison McFarland, MIT, all these people that are running the show who are supposedly work for us. Our taxpayer dollars work for us, just like Feinstein. You know, CIA, we pay for all that. We pay for the NSA. We pay for the EPA. We pay for all of it. We pay for the NRC. They're all captured. Nuclearism. Not only do they not protect us, they're a weapon against us. Cal Berkeley, Eugenics U, look it up. Look it up, John Holden. I want you to go Google John Holden. This is the ex-Washington Post reporter, as I reported on September 28th. It was finally they went out, they John Gottman, and slowly leaked all this stuff to you, the new norm, cancer from Fukushima. 3 years of apathy. Nobody, you know, I ran and raved and screamed like a freaking madman on my YouTube, but I'm an artist and I did it right. I look back on it, it was so cute, and I did it right, but no one still cared. I mean, our small little army, we got it, but because the populace is gone, they're beyond gone. Like I said, turn on a television and just watch it for an hour. I mean, it's almost like, it almost will turn you into some kind of retardation in your brain, and then, you know, go pop 900 pills. I mean, gone. It is sad. It is sad that this country has turned into this. Just as the leak at WIPP, our parents would have went psycho. Just the fact that there's a leak. Just that fact alone. Not detection. There's no conspiracy talk. I mean, it's outrageous that anybody would ever call me a conspiracy, because I'm not a conspiracy theorist. 3/11, you know, there are people out there saying, oh, no, it was a bomb. It's bullshit. You know, it happens. We have major earthquakes all over the Pacific Rim. We're going to get one in California. By the way, we got one yesterday, 6.9 Eureka. And tsunamis happen. I mean, look at the ancient, magnificent art that was painted in Japan of tsunamis. Oh, it all happens once every 1,000 years. Oh, really? Then why did it happen 5 years earlier in Phuket? You know how many people were killed in Phuket? I mean, whole island just washed out. That's the way it's always been. It's always been that way. Same with the coast of California and Washington and Oregon and Alaska. You don't think that can happen? Oh, it's going to happen. It's only a matter. It's just the geology, because it's generational arrogance. Diablo Canyon sitting right there. San Onofre. Yeah, I was with part of the group that got San Onofre shut down, but it doesn't matter if they're shut down, because Alison McFarland, Harry Reid, and all of them, dry cast. They are leaving the nuclear waste on site. Now get this. This is how grotesque this is. And this is Barbara Boxer, as I've worked with Barbara Boxer intensely. Type in Blue Castle nuclear generator. Just Google that. Google that. Google that. You want to talk to me as an activist? As I'm boots on the ground. I'm not just a guy on YouTube. I'm not a guy in a keyboard armchair activist sitting in a basement. Oh no. Oh no. I mean, type it in. I'll show you what kind of activist I have always been. If you Google Blue Castle nuclear generator, you're going to get me inside the LDS 8th floor East 8 bone marrow transplant center, almost dead, with a central line hanging out of me, going off on Blue Castle, the nuclear generator they're trying to build on the Green River in Utah. Now you think about that. I was in Stegner's program. That's where him and Udall. It's pretty ironic. Udall was so hardcore, anti-nuclear, Secretary of the Interior, now the Secretary. Yeah, that's his nephew in New Mexico. Stuart Udall would spit in his face. He would be disgusted with him. Stuart Udall was a strong leader. We don't have strong leaders then. These still come down to decisions about men. Now you think about this. In 1950, they kick Oppenheimer to the curb. They kick Einstein to the curb. They kick them all to the curb. Teller takes the field, a Hungarian lunatic. As we have a lot of immigrants that are still that way. I talk to a lot of these Bangladesh immigrants and these people because they don't understand the dynamic of America. They've lived in such cages their whole life. Oh, we like it. You know, they got no lives. They come over here, and if you don't believe that's true, you go to Queens, you go to different places in the United States. They do not integrate. A lot of these people do not integrate. They just try to regurgitate their own community abroad, and they just set up a new community. They don't know any better. They don't know any difference. We know different. We grew up in the beautiful America. We grew up where we had freedoms. We grew up out on the landscape. Us baby boomers, we know. We were taught. We were environmentalists. You think about 1970. You know, the Environmental Act, I think, passed 333 to 1. What happened to us? Really, what happened to us? that box, that grotesque tell. I mean, did it really? I mean, did they really posture and groom us into this drooling, dull masses? Did we all just give up? You know, I don't know. And I understand how discouraged people are as activists. Absolutely. I mean, we get nowhere. Popular opinion is not our friend. Popular opinion will never be our friends in our lifetimes. It will never be our friends. What we lack is leaders, and we lack integrity among men. Across all demographics, whether it be so-called celebrities, political leaders, spiritual leaders. That's where we've been betrayed. The only spiritual leader out there with any integrity is Megan Rice, 84-year-old nun, the protege of Dorothy Day. You know who Dorothy Day is? Google it. The protege of Martin Luther King. As I said in that courtroom, as my radio show has been boots on the ground. I've traveled all over this country. I mean, wow, the places I've been wild sick in the last year. It's pretty amazing what I've seen. It really is amazing that the small people group that will show up to my events, and they're go-getters, and I'll tell you how go-getters they are. When we showed up at Diablo Canyon, people say, oh, you just stood on the pier. Well, they don't let anybody up in that canyon. Please, give me a break. We're there, but there was an activist from Santa Barbara that everybody knows, an environmentalist, a great photographer, Joe. He got to work. Look at all the stuff coming out of Santa Barbara now in the media, in the restaurants. That's him. That's him doing it because he's talking. He's talking because this is about leaders and integrity. We don't need the masses. The sheep want to follow right off a cliff. Let them follow off a cliff. You know, as we're having yellow cake and Kool-Aid today at the event, you know, Barry Antoinette, let them eat yellow cake. He's not a leader. He has no integrity. None of these people are. They don't care because they have a lot of money and they live their comfortable lives and they just go about. They're not leaders. That's what's lacking. None. Teller makes the decision in 1951 to take the Marines from Pendleton, my dad included, drafted Marines and they knew they were human guinea pigging them. They knew they were human guinea pigging them. So if you don't think the military-industrial complex is evil in this country, oh yeah, well, it's 1,000 times more evil now. White Foster sprayed on their own men in Fallujah on the Marines. You think Cheney and Bush and Rumsfeld and all those monsters gave a damn about their own men, wrapped themselves up Operation Foxconn? America, I would leave it. You know, Kate needs you, and I shoot my pants. Yeah, I have a draft card. I'm going to get gun. You phony fucker. I want to fight that guy so fucking bad. Oh, I want to fight that guy. You know, it's such a disgrace to men who have fought and bled and died for this country. It's all gone. This country always defended the Constitution, always defended, you know, and you guys get all cut up. I'm going to get a gun in a second. And then it's such ridiculous hyperbole. It's so freaking abstract from the reality of the Constitution, the concrete foundation. They left the Ninth Amendment open to change. There's 315 million people in this country. Oh, there were, you know, name me one social program in the early days, okay? 1776. The Coast Guard. Oh, the U.S. Marines. It's redistribution. Oh, Central Bank. Alexander Hamilton's words, to block cheap Chinese goods from coming to America, to incentivize the buying of homemade goods. Paper was, the Revolutionary War. How did they pay for the Revolutionary War? They went around to communities. There were white Anglo-Saxons were living in North America for 150 years. It was a tariff war. They went out and sold paper notes. Oh, yeah. There were little old ladies and people of freaking wealth and farmers and ranchers and business people all over those colonies holding paper. Worthless paper. You know, they funded that war. The Revolutionary War cost money. Bullets cost money. That cost money. They were further in debt than even now. Hamilton, we got to pay this thing off. We got to pay it off now. He was a stickler on no debt. He was a hardcore stickler on the United States cannot have debt for very good reasons. Debt is not your friend. Debt is evil. It's called usury. Oh, Jesus Christ threw the money changers out of the temple. Usury. It's immoral. Yes, to take advantage of a person. That's what this country is, $20 trillion in debt. Wheeling, usury laws. What's a usury law? We have usury laws for you. We don't have them. Free market fairy tale. To take a person, put them in a socioeconomic place, smash them down, and then take advantage of that, I hear, pay here. You know, the court system is their goons collection. It is immoral. It is immoral We must pay off this freaking debt. So they used a tariff. The East India Company. You look at those paintings of the ships lined up in New York Harbor. The first employees of the United States government were the Coast Guard. What was the Coast Guard's responsibility? To collect duties on imported goods. That's exactly what they were doing. And they paid off that debt quickly. The Tariff Act of 1789 and 1791. There's 2 steps to it. So this country always used some form of integrity, some form of logic. Let's get real. A reading debt out of control, an interest rate of 0, nuclearism gone completely amok because it's become the new tea. It's become the new molasses. It's become the new cocaine. It's become the product plutonium. Plutonium is big-time business, big-time business. Nuclear power plants are not there for nuclear energy. It's so outdated. It's so wrong. It's not clean. It's filthy. Uranium mines. It's disgusting. The Price-Anderson Act. Oh, you know, I think it's ironic. Right here in Utah, growing up as a boy, Jake Gaunt, senator here, a Republican. He hammered away to get rid of Price-Anderson. Now, what is Price-Anderson? That's a law passed that makes us, as the taxpayer, guarantee nuclear power plants. And you don't think it still comes into prevalent today? Oh, what? Why, Fukushima's ongoing? Nothing's been done at Fukushima. I mean, they've been over there. There's no doubt they're trying, but you can see the trending well that it's failing. It's like Christina Radchik says it so beautifully. That great, great line of hers. The only thing controlled about Fukushima is us. It's pretty outrageous. The nuclear energy is filthy, it's dirty, it's disgusting. The Price-Anderson Act makes us pay for them. So now the first plant that's being built in 30 years in Georgia is going on, and we just gave another big handout because there ain't nobody going to insure those. The business model's flawed. You know, I talked to some lobbyists the other day, and they're like, we've lobbied and lobbied and lobbied to get rid of the subsidy to energy. If you got rid of all subsidies on all energy, nuclear is over tomorrow. The subsidy to nuclearism is 12 times higher than the other 10 combined. 12 times higher than the other 10 combined. Because it's not about energy, it's about weapons. It's about weapons. It's about this feudal system. It really holds the 1% and gives them incredible, incredible power. Colonializing the world? Shit, colonialism never stopped. I mean, look what's going on in Russia right now. They're like, we don't want any part. We don't want to be a part of this colonialized system. Why would they? Why would you want to be part of this? I mean, look, oh, well, we're great, America, wrap us up in the flag, love us, really. I mean, come on, look what we turned into. We got no integrity. You go to Walmart, you go everywhere, whatever, not even Walmart. The shirtwaist fire ties into nuclearism so much. And Megan Rice, it all ties together. It's human rights issues. People don't see it. These are human rights issues. Post-ignorance is an art movement that is about integrity among men, integrity about women. I mean, integrity of people. A young guy called me yesterday from Virginia. He follows along my vlog intensely. He's a brilliant young man. He's 20 years old. He calls me once in a while. I have a lot of people, great people that call me, our community. Kevin, you're not going to believe this. What? Got a brain tumor. No. Yeah. I mean, I almost started crying. It's so heartbreaking. You know, he met with a neurosurgeon. Wow. You know, he did say it was on the outside of the lower stem of the outside. He's got a chance. One of my very best friends, there was a whole group of us that really got hammered right here that all got cancer at the same time. Now we know that plume came over the top of Utah. As we couldn't take any more right here in Utah, 350 open-air tests in Utah. And we always knew this growing up. This was ground zero for the anti-nuclear fight. Not now. I mean, they're complete. You want to see obey sheep, the greatest obey. These make people in Saudi Arabia look like rebels. I mean, it's outrageous. There's a video going around now about a woman at UBC, the college down there, that the cops beat her up, an employee there for changing a sign to help students. It's saying that's who we are. The military-industrialized complex, but that military-industrialized police force only works because people go along with it. People love to be repressed. They're just going along and they're freaking numb. They're getting in their little cocoon, their car. And they go to work back and forth, working 65 hours a week. I mean, physically, they've let themselves go to hell because they're stressed out. I was talking to my daughter about this yesterday, and I said, I'm a socioeconomist, and I really like to look at different studies and different things that really tell the tale in a broad context. The one that really glaring that jumps out at me, these studies have been done for hundreds of years all over the world. The number one thing that people have always been reluctant to discuss with each other, in public, in private, with each other, has always been their sexuality. It's always been that way, forever and ever and ever, until a few years ago. Do you know the number one issue in the United States that people are reluctant to discuss with each other is their debt status, their debt structure? It's a giant masquerade party because it's neo-epic, ultra-competitiveness gone amok. You're all competing with each other. It's like people go to my YouTube video and say, oh, it's your ego because you're bullshit. I go back to Pollock all the time. Are you kidding me? To tell the truth in an aggressive, strong, right way, people pull back because their neo-ultra competitiveness is over. They got no game. They've accepted. They thought they were on the winning team. They realized they're on the losing team, so they create a masquerade party. Wife with fake breasts, Botox, fake freaking stucco on their house, exploiting a brown people, paying them cash. It's all integrity. It comes down to integrity. It's not right. It's immoral. Laws, what do laws mean? Shit. It's amazing we pick and choose our laws. It's against the law to pay someone cash, to cook your food, to mow your lawn, to freaking stucco your house. It's against the law. But yet, we don't arrest that guy who's doing that. So it breaks down all integrity in construction. It erodes the entire infrastructure. It erodes the tax base. People making freaking, a little bit of cash a day don't pay any taxes. But is it their fault? No. It's the person doing it. Because he thinks he's getting ahead. He thinks he's getting ahead by exploiting labor. Same with nuclearism. They think they're getting ahead by colonizing the world. We got a bunch of money. We can threaten you, point a freaking bomb at you, steal your natural resources. It's a feudal system. It's epic neo-ultra feudalism. It's not New World Order. It's Old World Order. This nuclearism is a failure, just like science fiction and economics is a failure. And, it's always been like this? No. Hell no. Hell no. I love that. I mean, such generational arrogance. Think back at us as baby boomers. Think about the 60s and 70s economically. Was it like this? Hell no. We didn't have any debt really, to speak of. 1980, no debt, zero. Huge tariffs. We were protectionists in this country. Yeah, we protected our jobs. We protected the environment. We tried. Yeah, there were all kinds of atrocities that were being committed, whatever, but you think about even as a nuclearism, Hanford. So we got Wendover right here where I'm standing. You got Hanford, where the nuclear waste is still being stored from the Manhattan Project. Oak Ridge, Tennessee, by the way, is out there. That is one creepy ass place. It's giant. What a giant infrastructure, right down to the high school. Of course, then Los Alamos. This is what it should be. It should be over. It's over. Here, a museum showing how they mocked it up. The rest are very, very active. It never stopped. It never stopped. The Manhattan Project, because it's wealth and power. Giant, giant, giant industry. It's the easiest way in the world to become a billionaire. You think about a nuclear power plant. Number one, you're an owner, and they all got deregged. You think, we're the public utilities own. Hell no, you don't own it. Bankers own them. Look them up. Look them up who owns these things. Number one, the taxpayer builds it. Guarantees the funds. We pay for them. Number two, by law, we have to buy the energy whether you use it or not, which we don't use it. We don't use it. This country produces 200% more energy than it even uses. Remember, think about this in Japan. Think about this. How many reactors? They've all been down for 3 years. I think they restarted one or two of them. What do you think Obama's going over the 22nd? It's a big dog and pony show. There's no rolling blackouts over there. The part of the landscape that's gone, it comes full circle. As I painted, you guys have watched that painting of mine. I call it the nuclear vagina, the nuclear triangle, because of the birth. And I put it right here at this thing. Russia, Japan, United States. It's amazing how it comes full circle. It flew out of here, and then 3/11/11 happens in Japan. It's pretty outrageous because why? That bomb was dropped on those people and it turned them into subservient culture. They were colonialized. Japan is occupied. Occupied Japan never quit. Read the treaties after World War II. We are. They have no military. They have no nothing. They're occupied by the nuclear cartel because of those nuclear bombs. And you think about the fact of building nuclear reactors on the coast of Japan. I mean, how insane is that? Oh, we did the same thing at Diablo Canyon in California. How insane is that? So here's Hanford up there, leaking into the aquifer. Bechtel comes right out. Integrity, again, against men, because they don't care. These people don't even live here. This 1% feudal system's made them so filthy, stinking rich. It's like when Occupy, they would go to Blankfield or these people's houses. Shit, they just get on their Learjet, find one of their other 50 houses. I mean, their wealth is staggering. You can't touch their wealth. Staggering. Their own security forces, their own Learjets, their multiple. I mean, their wealth is staggering. You know, I like how they'll say the average American makes $40,000 a year. That is the biggest lie, and I can prove it. The average American makes much less than $20,000. You know how many people are being paid cash in this country? There's two economies here. There's a cash economy that is gigantic. And corporations, everybody participates. I mean, go to a hotel, look at the maids. You know how much they're making? I mean, they live in total poverty. Go to a restaurant. Look at the construction industry been totally gutted in this country. The integrity of it is just falling apart. Nuclearism, Bechtel was paid to put the triple tanks at Hanford. They come right out and say, oh, yeah, we were paid, but we didn't do it. And it's leaking into the birth defects. So the Pacific genocide isn't even just Fukushima. It's Hanford, too. It never stopped. So, of course, Hanford can never stop. There's the madness of nuclearists. Think about the insanity of that. We said it clear back then. How can you hypothesize future generations to take care of your nuclear waste? You don't know. You can't. It's impossible to see what cultures will be. Who would ever believe if you went back even 20 years ago and says, hey, you know, oh yeah, 1999 we had a surplus. We got wars going all over. We got $20 trillion of reeling debt, 0% interest rate. The country's gone broke. So how can they handle the nuclears? And then no one cares. And the population, nobody would have believed it. Nobody would have believed it. You can't. Just like what's going on in Russia right now. 15 nuclear reactors in the Ukraine. 15. We know for a fact that rebels, don't you love how they call them rebels? They're just people. They're people in Russia that want their country back. They're tired, of the Tsar Putin. They're tired of the Tsars here. They're tired of the royal family here. The American royal family, which is the English royal family. The feudal. Oh, I love it. England and the United States, special relationship. Yeah, you're damn right, special relationship. In Operation Foxconn. It all ties back to this repressor society. You go along with it, but you just, look, it's not who I am, it's what people think I am. Look, I live in this big house, yet I'm broke off my ass. I drive a brand new nice car going to the front. I'm so far reeling in debt, I'll never get out. I just take pills at night to go to sleep because the thoughts of my debt structure, I can't sleep. It's pretty outrageous. But it's ultra neo. I said popism died 3/11/11. Back to the fact that no media is really talking about this on television. A little bit of print media and their ridiculous stories. It's crazy. It's crazy. Why wouldn't somebody on a news desk somewhere say, why were we not talking about this? It's like Fox News comes out with that little Lance, that Shepherd guy comes out and says, oh, they were right. Fuck, are you kidding me? You got a lot of balls saying that. They've orchestrated this. Now they've said media not only being used, pick and choose what you report, but they use it as a weapon, just like all these captured agencies, the Nuclear Regulatory Committee. Wow. I like people that regurgitate these FOIA documents, like the Nuclear Regulatory Committee, which is the nuclear row and cheerleaders, is somehow gospel. They're morons. They're a bunch of people placed there just to support. It's MIT gone amok. Pretty sad that we never did pivot off this. Nuclearism should have been mothballed and done. A lot of people thought it was done. It's not done. It's colonializing the world with nuclear weapons. And if you don't believe me, Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, the strongest diplomat on earth, goes to Czechoslovakia. Her last duty as acting Secretary of State. threatens the president of China in public, and uses the word. Now that you think about it, she uses the word Westinghouse multiple times. You break the contract with Russia and give them Westinghouse. Think about that. Westinghouse part of the government? I mean, she's the Secretary of State. Wow. And I thought Toshiba bought Westinghouse. Look it up. They did. Wow, it's a smoke screen for the nuclear card. It's nothing to do with conspiracy. It has nothing. This is just facts. Facts. The tragedy of 3/11/11 will reign over us for time and all eternity. The new norm. 3 years. Iran and Reagan carried on from day one. And it's very important. People say, oh, what does it matter? It's very important that it was told in detail from the very inception. Jan Brooks told it. I mean, she came to me at like day 7. Radchick, Christina, incredible work. We told it. We told it. Not armchair freaking activists. I've been all over this country. I've been in every dynamic this nuclear cartel needed to be in. When I was a year ago, 2/12/13, at the Santa Barbara hearings, that's when my light went on. Hundreds of people come up to me. Hundreds. Oh my God, I've been watching your work. I can't believe it. You can have my picture, blah, 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 blah. Because this is a powerful genre. YouTube is a very powerful genre. People pay attention. The right people. We have to keep fighting this thing. Is it a hopeless cause? Absolutely, it's a hopeless cause. Does that mean we don't fight it? No. It means that we fight it even harder. Oak Ridge, Tennessee shouldn't exist. None of it. We signed it not to proliferation kind of. Megan Rice. Oh, the Fifth Amendment, the Sixth Amendment, the Seventh Amendment, the Eighth Amendment to the United States Constitution, which they were all done in one whack. The Bill of Rights. What come before the Bill of Rights? Oh, the Tariff Act. She denied all due process. Cruel and unusual punishment? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Mary Evelyn Tucker inside that courtroom was one of the most powerful things I've ever heard in my life. I was there inside that courtroom on a Tuesday. Just like the Shirtwaist fire in 2 weeks is going to be on a Tuesday. I'll be live. My radio show will be live right when that tragedy happened. As he said, the first body she's jumping, thud. Thud. This is after the 10th body hit thud. I realized I needed to record this in history. And America was aghast. They're like, oh my God, they locked these girls in there. You realize the Shirtwaist fire happens every month in Bangladesh. You're on your cell phone. I stood in Times Square in a cage in Times Square this year with the Tiananmen Square, the real ones, the ones that snuck away and got away. They don't let anybody in that cage. They knew of me. They let me in that cage. I took beet juice, and when people would walk by, I'd say, hey, you on your Apple phone, how do you like drinking the blood of Chinese prisoners? How do you like going to the museum? Oh, let's go look Body Works, watch skinned Chinese prisoners. How do you like blood on your garments from Bangladesh? The Shirtwaist fire happened, the last one, a building collapsed over there, killed 1,300. It happens every day, all day, but you don't care. You don't care because you're in your dogma snug and you're like, didn't happen here. Because this country has lost any sense. I mean, it really is an epidemic. This country is sick. People are sick in a personal way, very sick. Their debt structure's out of control. And they just go numb. They don't even think about it anymore. Well, how can you call yourself moral? And then we've become this so-called Christian right. It's so obscene. Jesus died so I could be rich. And it's all isms, and it's all faith across the board. They're abstract. They're completely opposite. There's some concrete foundation about it. Jesus Christ threw the money changers out of the temple. Usury is evil. That's usury. It's slavery. Slavery. Do you realize everything you own, you consume, obey, everything you consume is made by slaves. They're made by slaves. You don't think a person making, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000 a year in cash, $6,000 a year, a hungry person from the brown, you don't think that's usury and enslavement of that person? That's so immoral. It's so grotesque. And I keep thinking Pope Francis, because he picked the name Francis. Is it going to be another fraud like the rest of them? I don't know. The saint of usury. You don't care. If this people would care, and they would talk about this, and a person sitting on a news desk, why don't they say, hey, wait a minute. Let's talk about the hundreds of thousands that were killed by the tsunami in Japan. Let's talk about the nuclear meltdown. Let's talk about, I don't care I don't care. Maybe I will get fired. But I'm going to do it because I care. No one cares. Well, politician. Yeah, Barbara Boxer, don't you love how she came out? You know, I've been working with her office heavily. She came out and talked about this. And then all of a sudden, nothing. Nothing. The Patriot Act, they can do whatever they want. Feinstein's out today saying, oh, the CIA, it violates the Constitution. Yeah. That's like saying the sun comes up in the morning. It's so outrageous what we've turned into, but like I said, people can say, oh, it's bigger than this, it's the Illuminati, it's control. Yeah, it's not New World Order, it's Old World Order. People, structure in history of mankind. People have always tried to protect wealth via bloodlines. And they're control freaks, and the control freaks are out of control. They're totally out of control. And we just feed into them. You know, Operation Foxconn. I mean, Rupert Murdoch pulled off the great. Orwell would come back and say, wow, I don't believe it. I don't believe he pulled it off. I mean, people in the opposite of their own best interest. Yeah, we want to sell our goods abroad. What is it we sell abroad? Oh, plutonium, nuclear, bombs, bullets. These people don't care. They wrap themselves up in a flag about their own military personnel. They could give a shit. You know how many Marines are coming home from Fallujah that already have cancer and leukemia? Like the USS Reagan. It was like the Lucky Dragon. The Lucky Dragon was the ship, a fishing vessel that was off. They got contaminated, hammered by the Bikini Islands because they didn't know they were going to do that. No, the USS Reagan is the opposite of that. That was by, some kind of, I don't know if you'd call it fate or just bad luck or whatever. USS Reagan was sent in. Now you think about it, the wind was blowing out the first 6 days. We get hammered in Utah. And such a rash of us got cancer in October of 2011. One of my really close friends, Gail, he got brain cancer the same exact day that I got my cancer. I mean, it just hit us both like trucks. He was dead in 3 months. Paul, one of my lifelines, he got the same time as I did. A whole group of us. Now we know that plume hammered Salt Lake City, the Rocky Mountain region hard. We couldn't take any more from those 350 open air tests out here in Nevada. The half-life of plutonium is 24,500 years. You can forget about it on winters, but it doesn't forget. The arrogance of this is beyond grotesque. Yeah, they split the atom and said we were going to change the world. Yeah, they were right. It changed the world. But for the better? No, for the worse. Oh, it's magic. You watch that. There's a famous clip that's emerged now of John Kennedy at Hanford in 1963, and he talks about we must harness the sun, and we're seeing its incredible effects today. He was anti-nuclear. He took these monsters on. He stood up. It's like freaking Oppenheimer stood up against him. Einstein, they all stood, didn't matter. The military industrialized, the Queens, and the military, the NSA, the CIA, all these people to go along, they can get cancer too. That's what kills me about this. That's why I always go Uncle Tom. They're all Uncle Tom. And if you guys, look it up on YouTube. You can watch the movie, Uncle Tom. Uncle Tom was a slave who went along with it. Harry Beecher Stowe wrote that book. She really did. Abraham Lincoln, so you're the little lady who started the Civil War. Oh boy. Oh boy. One of the richest women in the world. She did it on morality. Usury. She says it's immoral. It's immoral. It's unchristian. Like you call yourself great, it's immoral. That's why she wrote that book. Powerful, powerful book. Uncle Tom played ball. He went along. He was a good house servant. Look, we treat him good. That's just like you guys that play along with the NSA, the military industrial. Oh, look at us. We got a job. We got a car. We got to look at me. Got dicks about 2 inches long. I can wield power because I'm a piece of shit. You got no game. You got no art. You got no sex. You got no integrity. You got nothing, these guys that are going along this Uncle Tom media. You got shit. You got hairspray masquerade party. Uncle Tom played ball, but his owner died. He got sold to an evil owner, and that owner beat him to death. That's what's going to happen to the NSA, the people that have played ball. Snowden comes out. It's all over the media yesterday. I keep thinking that Snowden probably has some documentation. I keep thinking he says he has some nuclear options. I think he really does. I think he probably has stuff that will show the cover-up of Fukushima. That will show, not the conspiracy I mean, that was an earthquake and a tsunami. It happened. I mean, a nuclear reactor sitting on the rim of the Pacific, it was not a matter of if, it was when. Just like a deal, it's not a matter of if, it's when. What happens in California? It will happen. Well, anywhere across the United States. The United States has earthquakes. Somebody says, some neocon told me, it doesn't bother France. I says, yeah, Michael Moore said the same thing. You know, very different dynamic. France have earthquakes? I don't know. Boy, the United States sure does. And Germany sure has a problem with it. They pulled the plug. The technology is so outdated. It's so grotesque. It's so hideous. It's about control freaks out of control. And until we get one single person in power to stand up, we haven't had one since Bobby Kennedy. Not one. Not politicians, not spiritual leaders. It's grotesque. Well, I take it back. We had, Megan Rice. She's a leader. Barry Alva Tucker in that courtroom, the famous old professor. She walked out, I think it was one of the most emotional things that's ever happened to me in my life. She walked out of that courtroom, and we met and talked a lot at the potluck the night before. She come out of that courtroom after she gave that approach. She walked right over to me and hugged me, gave me a kiss on the. I mean, I just had tears coming rolling down my cheeks. In that courtroom, she took the stand, that little rat prosecutor, Timothy. You know, you walk around, you call yourself Timothy in your hairspray, you Uncle Tom supporters. She just went on that stand. She says, let me tell you something. Timothy, you used the word, not insincere. He used the word disingenuous to the most genuine person in the world. Megan Rice is the most genuine person on earth. You don't think the shirtwaist fire and freaking helped create her path? Oh yeah, her father taught in that building, New Yorkers, Manhattan. She said on the stand, you used the word disingenuous. I was really taken back. She just glared a hole through that little weasel. That little weasel, big piece of shit, couldn't even look her in the eyes. Neither could that judge. Neither one of them would look her in the eyes. They wouldn't look her in the eyes. She glared them down like you wouldn't believe. They towered in the corner like a little rat pieces of shit they are. And she said, the great, incredible lineage of Gandhi, the great, incredible lineage of Martin Luther King, the great, incredible lineage of Nelson Mandela. Megan Rice is that lineage. She is. She is. And you think about it. We still don't even know what cell she's in. We can't even contact her. Torturing an 84-year-old nun. I mean, somebody says she's our Nelson Mandela. She's 1,000 times more than Nelson Mandela even was. She went into Y-12. Peaceful activist, Y-12 breaking the law grotesquely, making more bombs and the whole Oak Ridge, Tennessee dynamic, talk about Uncle Tom's. They're burning nuclear waste right on, killing your own family. Oh, my loved one died of cancer. Oh, well, got it, because you're arrogant, because people don't even think about it, because they're in their cocoon. Television, I don't know what did it to them, but they're gone. Culture's gone. Culture is disgusting. And 50 years from now, 100 years, they'll look back and say, wow, this will be one of the most hated cultures in the history of humanity. Because we thrashed the environment for time and all eternity. This nuclear waste is everywhere in every nook and cranny. We just keep making, and there's no answer for the nuclear waste. The NRC, with a stroke of a pen, says, oh, we're going to turn all 104 reactors into nuclear dump sites. I'm having a fit. I'm throwing a fit down there. I'm going to Barbara Boxer's office constantly, widens everybody I can talk to. I'm calling them. They can't do that. That's against the Constitution. It takes an act of Congress. That's right, Kevin. Yeah. Well, how can they do that? This is a 5-committee appointed people. This is not due process. There's no 3 branches of government anymore. There's one: nuclearism. It's all fraud. It's fraud. I mean, MIT, Alison McFarland, really? She just signed the no. You know, Jacko resigned. Boy, they quieted him down too, haven't they? That's Prime Minister of Japan. They shut them up. Boy, they shut them all up. Barbara Boxer's office, boy, they shut her up. Why? You know, Barbara Boxer or any of these leaders, tell them to fuck off. You know, Feinstein, all of them, all these, because you know what? They come and threaten you. Hey, you can't talk with us under the Patriot Act. Fuck you. Fuck you. Like John Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy. John Kennedy's like, fuck you. The military went to him and he's like, you know, you can't come out and sign the test treaty ban. Look it up. July 23rd, 1963. Look it up. John Kennedy's Look it up. Listen to that speech. Talking about leukemia at the end of it. Rachel Carter. You can't do this. You can't do this. Tell her that creep. By the way, John Kennedy hated that fucker. He looked right at him in their faces. Fuck you. I'm president of the United States. I got integrity. Fuck you. I'm standing up for what's right. We don't have one single person on earth like that. Not fucking one. It's disgusting. No integrity. Fucks. Just like my events, I show up. I'm boots on the fucking ground. I'm not just a guy on YouTube. My YouTube videos are art. I'm not an armchair activist. I'm going to fight this. I'm going to go down. When I was in the hospital, and I told the doctors, they said, you're probably going to die, Kevin. You got 2 months to live. I'm going to go down. I told them straight up, well, if I'm going to die, I'm not taking a call third strike. I'm going to go down swinging. And I'm going to swing for the fucking fences. And I'll stand up to any of these fuckers, these Uncle Tom fuckers, because I'll tell you what, the NSA, the CIA, they're all playing ball. Every one of these fuckers, you politicians, every one of you fucks, you can die of cancer too, and your loved ones can die of cancer too. And may your fucking soul, wow, life a test? We're going to find out. You all fucking failed, you leaders. That's the problem. We have no fucking leaders with any fucking integrity. Not fucking one. Not one leader is willing to stand up to this. Not one. The old world order. Monarchs. Which royal are you? Fuck the royals. Don't want to be all you serfs and peasants. That's what you are. You're fucking slammed in the debt Jesus Christ through the money changers at the the fundamental foundation of Christianity, Muslim, Judaism, freaking Buddhism, logic, and usury. It's immoral. It's fucking immoral. Yeah, you fucking I don't wear clothes fucking made by fucking slaves in Bangladesh. Don't do it. So you can't do it. Watch me. I do it every day. I buy stuff at thrift stores, and I'll be at Washington Square, and I'll remember those girls. I've always remembered. I've never forgot that story. I remember when I heard it when I was a boy. I was like, whoa, it gave us minimum wage. It gave us weekends. It gave us everything. Because people in America cared then. Yeah, it was evil. Those two guys got found not guilty in New York at the trial because, believe it or not, in 1911 in Manhattan, in New York City, it was legal to lock people in. And girls were marching in the streets by the thousands, and the cops were beating them to death. There were women being hung in jail cells in New York City, just like Occupy. The military industrialized police force, the police force that goes along with this. Uncle Tom's. I don't understand. I've never understood the military industrialist complex, the police industrialist, academia, marine biologists that are all going along with this. Spiritually, why? Why are you going along with this? You're supporting the very people that are against you and your family. You're not one of the royals. You're not. The police force, to the NSA, to all the CIA, you're not one of the royals. They tricked you to make you think maybe you are. The media, your hairspray on the news desk, you're not a royal. You're a peasant and a fucking serf just like us. And you can get cancer from nuclear fallout. The new norm, 3 years. 3 years. They pulled it off. Wow. Who would ever believed it? I strained my head up. I thought, it won't be Chernobyl this time. Not this time. Not this time. Not with social media. But I underestimated how gone culture is. Ignorance is a disease. Ignorance is an epidemic disease. Now we're going to have another disease. And it's already being called it. The cancer pandemic, which is fastly turning into the epidemic. And it's already happening. It's happening right here, right now. So many people have died in North America from Fukushima and don't even know it killed them. God's will? I'll leave it at this. John Steinbeck at the end of East of Eden, and he's blaming himself. Timshel. Thou mayest. That means, that's out of the Old Testament, that means men are responsible for their actions. It's not all God's will. Nuclear waste is the most evil, nuclearism is the most evil thing in the history of humanity. Megan Rice understands that. She's a beautiful, brilliant socioeconomist. She could have took on any issue. She knows the top of the heap. She knows it's all the same thing. They locked those girls in. They had to make the choice, either burn to death or jump to their death. The ladders weren't high enough. Happens every day. We'll get some great videos coming out of the hangar here in Wendover. 3 years. The new norm, cancer! Stay in tune. What a freaking 3-year journey it's been. Apathy on Balco.
All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. All nuclear fighters, all hands on deck, all hands on deck, all hands on deck. They'll be calling you a radical. Boom game.